Practice, practice, practice. As the famous NBA player once says, Allen Iverson, in an interview, he replied, "You're talking about practice? You're talking about practice?" And yes, today we're going to talk about practice and all its benefits. So, we already know that practice is important, but in today's podcast, I will give you some live examples so all we can have a better perspective of this meeting. So, hold tight and let's begin. This is New Perspectiva, the podcast that you will enjoy and talks about life tips, brands, business cases, and all of this with Adrian Gonzalez. Adrian is an engineer with MBA book author, so passionate to learn new things which he loves to share with you guys. So welcome and enjoy today's topic. Hi, my name is Adrian Gonzalez and today I will talk about the importance of practice. And let's start right away with the definition. And it says, practice, the act of doing something again and again in order to learn or improve. So, why of this topic? It is because there are times that we want to introduce or start practicing a new habit that this happens to me as well. Like when I want to start practicing another thing, another discipline. But because we may know that we're not so good at it, we tend to be afraid or repeat to ourselves the famous phrase that says, what they will say. So we don't do it. And the cure of it is practice. And today I will resume it with three great life examples of why the importance of practice. The first one. In the book of James Clear, he explains the example of a professor from University of Florida, where in a test he divided his film photography students in two groups, and he did it as the following. Everyone from the left side of the classroom will be in the quantity group, and the ones that were on the right side of the classroom will be in the quality group. So the quantity group will be graded based on the amount of pictures they produce. This means if they produce 100 photos, they will rate as A, like a grade A. If there were 90 photos, will be B, 80 photos will be C, and so on. And the quality group will be graded only with the excellence of the picture. This means they will only need to produce one photo, one picture during the semester, but to get an A, this means the highest grade, they had to be nearly a perfect image. And at the end, guess what? The professor was surprised to find that the best pictures were the ones produced for the quantity group. Yes, the quantity group and not the quality. Meaning, during the semester, these students were so busy taking photos, experimenting, trying, trial and error, checking settings, lightings, and so on, that in the process of creating and shooting 100 photos, they got sharper and better on it. As I mentioned in the definition before, they learn and improve. Meanwhile, the quality group sat around speculating about perfection. In the end, they had little to show for their efforts and lack of tenure. So, to resume, quantity is what makes us better. So, practice and practice with no fear of the detracting critics, and that is part of the secret. Second example that I like is in Latin America, there's a popular Mexican band called Maná. They have great hits like Rayando el Sol and Oye mi amor. Sorry, I'm not so good singing. Within others. And one of the best albums, or to say it in another way, the album that put them on the map internationally was Donde Jugarán los Niños, which means Where the Children Will Play. And this album was the second one and consists of 12 songs, each one better than the other. But there was something special on this album. In an interview, they commented that in order to select 12 songs for this album, they created 100 songs. This means by composing 100 songs, they relate that some good songs will come from it. And once they select the 10% or the 12% of the best songs, then at least they will be more confident that there will be good songs in that album. Ergo, a good album to be released. But the real thing is that in order to compose or create 100 songs, you have to practice chords, you have to make music changes, you have to do new rhythms or variations of rhythms, and so on. And this make you or make them to practice and practice so they get better on what they were creating. So, if you're doing a video, a podcast, a seminar, speech, presentation, call it what you want, you can take this as an example. At least try to practice it or do it 100 times so you can have the necessary practice to deliver a good job for it. The third example, the anatomy of practice. As you know, I'm staying in London, England, and this country is a sport creep. What brings them to practice a lot of sports here. So, me, as always, looking to understand better how things work and in the research of how different things can apply in life, I start to assist and practice a sport that it can be correlated to business and teamwork, and its name is tug of war. For you who don't know what is tug of war, it's also known as tow or rope pulling, and this is the definition. It's a sport that pits two teams against each other in a test of strength, meaning each team pull on a opposite ends of the rope, with the goal being to bring the rope a certain distance in one direction against the force of the opposing team's pull. This means it's the classic game that we do or we did when we were a child with a rope that there were three or four guys in one side, the same in the other side, and they have to pull to see which one have better strength. So that is here in England, that is a sport. It's called tow or tug of war. So within this journey, I got the opportunity to know a professional tug of war athlete. His name is Paul. He's very tall with a lot of strength, and he has all this experience in this discipline. He has been like more than 25 years practicing this sport. And besides all his knowledge, agility, and skills for this sport, one thing that surprised me of him, like in a good way, guess what? Were his hands. When I was talking to him and he showed him, I could notice that his hands has these big calluses created because of the pulling, the rope, the grip. The pressure of the rope makes these hands to have calluses. So the body produces, because it's a body protection. You create calluses as a body protection. So they have like these big calluses like forming his hand. But beside that, what I could find is that his hands anatomically were adapted to the grip of the rope. This means the hand has been shaped so he can grab the rope better than a regular person. And this was amazing because you can notice that his body has adapted and shaped for the necessity of the sport. And for this, guess what? You need years of practice. And this happens in other sports. I don't know if you have practiced bowling, like professional bowlers. If you see their fingers, like the middle and the ring fingers, they will have like anatomically a tilt to the opposite side of the hand. And this is because for years of practicing, these two fingers are responsible for the final grip to generate the necessary effect so the ball can create this curve in the bowling lane and it hits better the 10 pines of the floor so it can create the perfect strike. And as I said before, this anatomy shape of the sport only comes with practice. The same applies to professional announcers. They had a good voice for the radio, but it's not until they have years of practicing that it becomes their natural voice. I don't know if you have the opportunity to talk with a professional radio announcer. If not, well, they when you speak with them, they will speak like in a regular chat. They will sound as they are still in the radio cabin. Like, hello, how are you, Adrian? And this comes with practice. So if you are focusing in something, just focus on the practice. So to resume, practice gives us a great benefits that I will resume it here. That will be learn, we will improve, we will make us confident, we'll create a better anatomy of it. Our memory will start working, faster because of it. And the best of all, it helps us to create habits and discipline. So practice, practice, practice. And this, what I mean with the power of practice is don't be afraid, put it into action. If you have a discipline or a habit that you want to do, put it into action. And as I say with the mana case or the mana example, at least put 100 times as a discipline to that job or that art that you're performing. And from there, believe me, you will get better and better. Well, guys, that's a wrap for today. My name is Adrian, author of the book Morning Zen, Empower Your Life by Transforming Your Mornings. And in case you like this podcast, please follow me and share it. Thank you once more and see you in the next chapter. This is New Perspectiva, the podcast that you will enjoy and talks about life tips, brands, business cases, and all of this with Adrian Gonzalez. Adrian is an engineer with MBA, book author, so passionate to learn new things which he loves to share with you guys. So welcome and enjoy today's topic. Perspectiva.